Welcome to Women of Wisdom, everyone. I know you guys saw me earlier with a foot of snow outside, practically, but we actually have another interview today via Skype. This one via Skype because I approached this young woman basically on Facebook, and she graciously said yes. And the cool fact is is that she's not self-published. Thank you very much. She's actually traditionally published, and her book is coming out this summer. And so I'm gonna let Megan take it away.
All right, thank you. Hi, everyone. Thanks so much for having me. I'm excited. It's actually my first interview.
Oh,
So I
oh, there we
know.
go. There we go. Nerves. Okay, so Megan, what inspired you to write?
I always wanted to write. I always wanted to be an author. I wrote a manuscript when I was 20 and it was really bad. So I think it's just in the corner in a box somewhere. And then, 3 years ago, I was just going through this really hard, difficult period in my life, and everyone said, you know what, you need to write a book about this. So I thought, okay, I'll write a book and I'll see what it does. And writing the book wasn't as hard as kind of putting myself out there because it is a memoir. So after I got, like the 33 rejection letters from, agents and publishing companies, Black Opal Books, which is a publishing company on the West Coast, offered me a contract to publish my book. And so it's coming out this summer.
Well, congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. And so it's a memoir, am I correct?
Yes. Yeah.
So can you give us a sneak peek of your
Sure.
memoir of what what people are going to read? Can you give us a sneak peek of your memoir and what people are going to read?
Yeah, of course. Like I said, it was about 3 years ago that I just had this crazy period in my life. Within a couple months, my daughter was born. She's 3 now. I filed for divorce. I was diagnosed with postpartum depression.
Ooh.
I was actually in the hospital in the psych ward for postpartum depression.
Oh boy.
I know, right? And then
Oh boy.
all of this, going through all of this, and I was in law school at the same time. So,
Okay, law school,
right,
postpartum depression.
right. Yeah, it's crazy.
Dad split the scene. Okay.
I know. That's
So,
like,
yeah, yeah,
yeah,
hinted.
it was
So
crazy.
it was crazy.
Yeah.
And what is your deepest regret of all this? What is
Um,
your deepest regret of all this?
you know, I,
And what is your what is your deepest regret? And why did you want to share your amazing story? What I think is amazing
oh,
story
thank you.
with the world.
Um, I don't, people have always asked me if I regretted marrying my ex-husband, and I have to say no, because he gave me my daughter, which is the greatest gift I've ever been given. So I don't have any regrets from that time period. But what made me want to write it is two things. People, when I say the memoirs about, like, divorce and the postpartum, everyone thinks it's about my ex-husband. Probably he does too. I don't know. But it's not. It's two major issues in the book is that my marriage, there was domestic violence. And
Oh
it
boy.
wasn't it wasn't just physical, it was emotional. And a lot of
Oh boy.
people, right. And when a lot of people think of domestic violence, they think of physical, and it's not just that. It's emotional, it's, mental. So, and the second thing with the postpartum, I think there's a lot of stigma on it in that people think, oh, you have postpartum, you want to hurt your child. And I wasn't like that at all. My postpartum was, I didn't think I was a good enough mom for my child. and I just wanted to kill myself because I thought
Oh
she's better
boy.
off without me. Yeah.
Oh
So,
boy.
yeah.
So therefore going through this trauma
Right.
is is amazing, and what you are doing at the age of 20. I
Thank
wrote
you.
I wrote my first manuscripts. I win at the age of 24 after losing my mom to a
Right.
brain aneurysm. And
Mhm.
so you and I walk a very similar path
Yeah,
as
I think we do.
to writing books. And people say to me all the time, your story's so inspirational, and people probably say that to you.
Yeah,
And
and I was
and
just
I
about to say to you, I was inspired when I read about you, and I was like, I was so happy that you asked me to do an
oh
interview. So yes,
jeez.
you inspire me.
Oh
So
jeez. Well, thank you for saying that. And so what was the hardest thing for you to come to grips with while writing this manuscript?
I think the hardest thing for me was actually getting a contract for it, just because I felt like I wrote the book and I was getting rejections, and I thought, okay, well, I wrote it. It was great. It felt good when I wrote it. It was a little therapeutic. But once I got the contract and I signed it, and I was like, oh boy, I'm putting myself out
Yes,
there. It
yes.
kind
I
of
feel
a little
exactly the
scary.
same way
Yeah.
with my YA novel. Oh boy, I'm putting
Yeah.
myself out there now.
Right.
And
Exactly. I'm like, oh,
so,
I'm gonna have to
oh
talk
boy.
about this now.
Yeah, you're going to have to come out of the closet, so to speak,
Exactly.
on
Yeah.
what you what you are trying to do,
Right.
and it's fairly difficult
It
when
is.
you think about it,
It
because
is.
it's there are days when I'm sitting here writing manuscripts, and even
Mhm.
though I am now focusing on teens and empowering teens,
Mhm.
there were days I burst into tears as I was writing my manuscript, tears streaming down my face, using
Yeah.
speech dictation, and
Yeah.
so yeah,
Yeah. I've
so
been there. I know exactly what you're
yeah,
talking about.
yeah,
Yeah.
because it is very therapeutic. We do these things to relieve ourselves of the pain. And now,
Yeah. Mhm.
how supportive is your family of all this? Do
Well, that's another element of it because I actually moved back in with my parents when my daughter was 2 weeks old. So yes, because my ex
okay?
not helping out, and I'm still living with them just because of some ongoing issues with the ex, and my attorney thinks it's a lot safer for me to live here. So it's a little interesting being 20 or 35, living with my parents with my 3-year-old. It's interesting, but
Yeah,
I
it's
mean, I'm lucky in that I have my family
yeah,
and they do support me.
yeah.
And I mean, I couldn't ask for better role models to be around my daughter,
Yeah,
honestly.
well,
So,
I feel the same way. I mean, I still, someone just asked me today, where are
mm,
you living now? This person who knows me extremely well,
mhm,
and I go, I'm still living in the same house
right.
I grew up in. And so it's very challenging to,
Yes,
write these books and be so public
it
with all
is.
private stories. I
It
mean,
is.
and do you ever think about writing a children's book?
No, I don't. I'm actually, because I went to law school, graduated from law school. My next book, I'm actually working on a crime fiction, crime fiction, kind of
Oh,
John
good
Grisham.
for you.
Yeah,
My
but
God. Good for
children's
you.
books, I love children's
Ah,
books. My daughter loves them. I am not talented enough to write children's books, but
yeah.
I love working with kids. I'm actually on the a board of a children's organization here, a nonprofit called Troy Youth Assistance, and we work with kids and teens and That's how I work with children. So it's a great
Well,
organization.
I am working with, even though I'm based out in snowy old Aspen, Colorado, I am actually working with a non-profit myself based in
Oh, good.
Madison,
Yeah.
Virginia, doing the exact same thing, role
Uh-huh.
modeling for kids
Yeah.
what they should be seeing, not necessarily what they are seeing now,
Right.
because what these, and I hate to bring education into this, but
Hmm.
since we're on the subject of domestic violence,
Right.
you um what you are bringing to light is something that is going to make me cry as I do this interview,
Hmm.
because I as a disabled woman
Hmm.
wasn't abused by my parents necessarily. My parents have given me the most supportive environment in the world. They sent me
Yeah.
to a private school. They did all that. I was emotionally abused by boss
Oh.
by a
Oh.
boss, and that boss was
Hmm.
boss from hell.
Yeah.
And it's
Yeah.
public, and I win, so I don't care about talking
Right.
about it. So,
Yeah.
and one of the things she did was start laughing when she was on a business trip with me, her as my aide due to my cerebral palsy,
Well, that's
and
so nice of her.
she said,
Wow.
if I don't get my antidepressants, I'll go wonky on you, and then
What?
started laughing.
Oh my God.
And so I will never, geez, I will, I just
Wow.
about, I just about sat there stunned. I'm like,
Right.
hello,
Right.
hello, antidepressants, hello. It's like you don't laugh at
Right.
that manner when you're depressed. You
Yeah.
have to, that being said, and this is my big thing, you have to come out of the closet and get the support. Get the
Yes.
support you
I
need.
completely agree. Yeah.
Hello, you,
Yeah.
I, I was dealing with grief counselors and finally found a good one.
Mm.
And it's like, you have to, when we're dealing with all these challenges,
Mm.
like you and I are, you have to come out of the closet. You
Yeah.
have to. You can't sit there on Facebook and feel sorry feel sorry
Yeah.
for yourself, and you
Yeah. I
have
agree.
to come out of the closet. And I'm telling all my viewers this because you are on my show. You you reach out to Megan or myself or someone that you trust to come out of the closet. Don't take
Right.
it out on Facebook. Don't do the
Yeah.
adult pity party on Facebook. And please don't do the adult pity party because that drives
Yeah.
me nuts. Because
Yeah.
when
Mm.
the adults do the pity party, it literally drives me insane. Because what they're doing as able bodied adults is not empowering themselves,
Hmm.
they are sending themselves into a deeper spiral.
Yeah. I agree. It's the thing is, I went to the hospital 3 times actually because of my postpartum. And my ex-husband used to throw that in my face all the time, like I was ashamed. And I'm like, I'm not ashamed of it. I needed to get help and I went and got it.
Yeah,
So, and my daughter needed me. So,
yeah.
I
She
mean,
needed
he
mommy, and mommy
yeah,
wasn't at a good
mommy,
place.
right.
So
So mommy
mommy
went and got
needed
some help.
mommy needed help, and
Right.
so unfortunately, ex-husband saw it in your face. But in the long run,
But
you're here for your kid.
exactly. Yeah. So I think, I can't stand people that when you talk about mental illness and they say, oh, well, it's all in your head, and
Oh,
oh, that
you're
drives
right.
me nuts.
Oh,
It
you're
drives
right. It's
me nuts.
on. Yeah, they think cerebral palsy is genetic and they think it's hereditary. Cerebral palsy is not
Yeah,
one, nor is mental illness. You
right.
are either diagnosed with it, you land up getting it on your own. I mean, it's like, no.
Yeah,
And it's, so I wanted to, so you're writing, um, law school related novel here.
right.
And
Yeah.
so what's the, can you give my viewers a little taste of that?
Yeah,
What's,
I wanted to get into crime fiction because during law school, you sit in your classes and your professors tell you the rules. And then for every law, there's an exception. And I always thought the exceptions are going to make a really good story someday. So the sneak peek of my novel right now, there's a lot of twists and turns in it, but basically the plot is twin sisters, and they kill their parents for the inheritance. And it's just kind of, how does it come to court, because nobody knows which twin did it until the very end of my book.
aha,
So yeah, and there's
aha,
kind of
no,
like the law, like exceptions in there, and how they're going to
that
prosecute. And then there's a
is,
couple of other
that
twists in
is
there too.
very
So
cool. That is
yeah,
very cool. Well, I am honored to help you, and I'm honored to promote you, and I'm honored to
thank
do
you.
this for you,
Yeah.
and I'm honored that I am your first interview,
Yes.
and I am honored to watch this process go for, not
Thank
stop.
you.
And then, why did you want to support women of wisdom? And then, why did you, when I say to people, I host a talk show, they either say, you're nuts, and we are not dealing with an interviewer with a disability
Right.
herself, or they either jump in with two left feet and say,
Yeah.
give me, give me an interview, and I'm here to support the small, independent publishers are
Hmm.
the ones that are the young ages and want that hand up.
Hmm.
So, why did you agree to my interview?
Because like you said, we connected on Facebook, and I saw your page, and I read just a snippet of your book, and it's I think it. I wanted to interview with you because you wrote a memoir too, so I felt like, okay, she's gonna understand where I'm coming from, and
Yeah,
yeah,
yeah, big
and
time, big
yeah,
time.
exactly. So I thought,
Um,
what? I'm
big
like,
time,
this is going to
and
be my first interview, and
yeah,
it's been a great
just
one. I feel very comfortable with
just
you.
make it,
So,
just that's my approach. I'm not the scariest person on
right.
planet Earth. I just make it as comfortable as I can. I
Yeah.
mean, it's um it's because I've been scared off by so many people over the years, and
Hmm.
I've had to explain myself over the years
Yeah.
too of my disability and my challenges, which
Yeah.
have gotten um, severely mishandled. I
Hmm.
shouldn't say that, over the past 4 years. I mean, until you walk the walk of
Right.
the grief or domestic violence, in your
Right.
case, people will look at you like you have two heads.
Oh
People
yeah.
will
Oh, I
literally
know.
look at you like you have two heads. Now,
They will.
granted, now granted, it's there's a huge stigma behind domestic violence,
Oh
as
yeah.
you said, and
Mm.
I'm gonna let you go into your personal story and why you want to bring domestic violence to the light. And I just want to tell my viewers, domestic violence is not what you think. Domestic violence is emotional abuse too, and it's not just physical abuse. Thank you very much.
Mm.
And it's
Yes.
just we need to take the skeletons out of the closet and just
Yes.
um, just be open and honest, and
Mm.
just be open and honest. And we need to take the skeleton out of the closet and say, this is what we're dealing with. I got help. I got help. I did.
Right.
I went through, as a form of grief therapy. I'm still
Mm.
dealing with IWIN, and IWIN has now taken on a life of its own. And
Mm.
so, but I got help. I did it in the memoir. You obviously did it in the memoir,
Right. Mm.
along with getting help.
Right.
And so,
Yeah.
from your friends and your
Mm.
family and um, in the medical system. And
Yeah.
so, I just want to make sure that you're bringing what needs to be brought out in light.
Yeah.
And so during this interview, I want to make sure that you're sharing whatever needs to be shared. And granted, it's
Mhm.
public, but I want to
Right.
make sure that you raise awareness as a champion, as a
Mm.
survivor of
Thank you.
domestic violence.
Mm. Um, yeah, I wrote, like I said at the beginning, I wrote the memoir to let people know that even though yes, domestic violence, there was some physical altercations. The majority of the domestic violence in my case was definitely emotional, and it took me a long time to call myself, I guess, a victim of domestic violence. I really didn't like calling myself that. And finally, my therapist said, look, this is what happened. He made fun of you. He called you names. He made fun of, I have anxiety disorder. He'd make fun of that. It's like everything.
Yeah,
I gain weight, make fun of that. It's just
yeah.
to the point that, I mean, he would tell me, you know what, you need to stay married to me because no one else is going to want to marry you.
Oh,
And yeah. And I was like,
oh, give
okay,
me a break.
right,
Oh,
yeah,
give me a break.
yeah.
Give me a
And,
break.
it just
I
was,
need to be a mom here. You're not helping the cause.
I
Give
know,
me a
I know.
break.
And, I was with him for 6 years. And, like I said, I don't regret it because I have my daughter, but it was very hard. I was in therapy for 2.5 years to deal with it. And, my therapist said to me, she's like, you know what? She's like, you could be the CEO of Google and still you might have domestic violence because emotional
Yeah,
domestic violence is so, like, people keep it secret. And I
yeah.
guess that's why I wanted to write my book because it's true. People don't talk about it and they want to
And
keep it secret because they feel ashamed.
it was very therapeutic for me to let that
Mhm.
out of the closet.
Same here.
Um,
Yeah.
and, and I win. And I win. A lot of people didn't know I was emotionally abused by a boss. Now they do, and of course that boss still lives in this valley, so it's like I can't stand a woman.
Right.
But
Right.
a lot of people knew I had cerebral palsy, but
Hmm.
they didn't understand the whole concept of cerebral palsy, and they don't understand the whole concept of
Right.
domestic violence either.
Right. Mm.
So, are you, after you do the memoir and after you do the fiction novel, are you planning on keeping a writing career or going back to lawyering?
I would love to keep the writing career. Especially right now that Malin, my daughter's, is 3. It's she has preschool 3 days a week, full time. So it's nice to be able to be home and take her to dance class and gymnastics, and
Be
it's
a mom. Be a mom.
exactly.
Hello. Be a mom. And
Yeah.
it's nice. I have an education degree, And what I want to offer you is
Mm.
helping you out with anything you might need. I
Okay.
also have a huge network, which is getting
Hmm.
huger by the minute, and I want to help you. I want to walk beside you and help
Thank you.
you as far as the education degree and help you be a role model
Thank
for
you.
your Madeline and for your daughter, and just help you wherever I can. And you can always call me, and my viewers know this. I'm very open about talking
Hmm.
basically about anything, and you can always call me and say, Madeline's driving me nuts. What do I do?
Right.
And because
Right. I might do
you
that.
you don't have you have the lawyer degree, but
Mm.
you have the mothering instincts. I mean, I can tell
Yeah.
that, and
Thank you.
but you don't have the outsider looking in who has the education degree
Yes, I
of
don't, which is
the
nice.
of the preschool set.
Hmm.
So when when the teacher goes, Madeline had a bad day, you look at Madeline and think, she's my daughter. What am I supposed to do?
I
Uh,
know. I
yeah,
know.
yeah,
I know.
yeah. And I hate to play devil's advocate here, but education of and teaching respect of
Yeah.
the next generation is something why I started Women of Wisdom, and education and teaching outside of box thinking
Hmm.
is why I started Women of Wisdom. And my last question is, where can people find you, and where can people find your other child? Let's
Hmm.
not let's not put it mildly, because I can tell you're excited about this. And so let's shoot let's shoot in the dark here. Where can people find you, and how can people get in contact with you? And when does your memoir come out, which I'm fascinated to read?
Oh,
And then when does your crime novel come out too? And give me all that good stuff.
okay. Well, I do have a website. It's www. I'll spell it out. It's megancyrulewski.com, and it's megancyrulewski.com. And there you can find my links to Facebook, to Twitter, to my publisher. I keep a blog. I actually do author interviews on my blog. So if anyone wants an interview, contact me through my website. Um, and my memoir is going to be out, I think, sometime this summer. It's going through the first round of editing right now. It goes through 3 rounds. So it should be. I'll definitely keep you updated with that, of
Yeah,
course.
yeah, please, because I I want to see this project through, and I think your story is incredible. You, on the other end,